Your first tomato seed holds a hidden risk. In less than 48 hours, a single fungus spore or stray light source can cripple a whole tray before you even see a green shoot. Grow tomatoes. Start to finish isn't just about planting and waiting. Every phase, from precise sowing depth to dialing in the ideal 21 to 24 degrees Celsius germination, is a test of vigilance. The smallest error can lead to leggy stems, damping off collapse, or a balcony garden wiped out by invisible threats. Yet, most new growers never learn the science behind stopping these disasters before they start. Why do some hands harvest flawless fruit, while others lose their crop before summer? The solution begins, and the stakes are set, right at the seed. Every tomato harvest begins with a choice, the variety, and the promise hidden in each coded name. VFN on a packet means resistance to 3 of the most common killers: verticillium wilt, fusarium wilt, and root knot nematodes. For container growers, that's insurance against problems lurking in reused soil or compost. But resistance isn't a force field. It just stacks the odds in your favor. Seed physiology matters too. Tomato seeds carry everything they need to sprout, but only if conditions line up. Dry seeds go into a sterile tray, 0.5 to 1 centimeter deep, shallow enough for easy emergence, deep enough to stay moist. The real trigger is temperature, 21 to 24 degrees Celsius. At that range, germination begins in as little as 4 days, with most seeds up in 10. Too cold, and nothing happens. Too warm, and fungal threats multiply before a single root breaks out. Cover trays to hold in humidity, but never let them sit in standing water. Each seed is a genetic blueprint, but only the right start unlocks its full potential. Damping off strikes fast. One day, seedlings stand upright. The next, stems pinch in at soil level and collapse like cut threads. The cause? Fungal spores thriving in warm, wet conditions, especially when air stands still and surfaces stay damp. Sterile seed-starting mix blocks most of these spores at the source, cutting infection risk by more than half compared to reused soil. But even clean media needs airflow. A small fan, set to the lowest setting, keeps air moving above the tray, enough to dry leaf surfaces and keep fungus at bay, but gentle so stems don't bend. Bottom watering is the key move. Pour water into the tray, let the roots draw it up, and pour off any excess after 20 minutes. This keeps the surface dry, where spores wait to attack. If seedlings start to fall, act fast. Remove the sick, let the healthy dry, and boost airflow. With these steps, most trays escape unscathed, and the survivors grow on, ready for their next challenge. Tomato seedlings stretch toward the light the moment they break the surface. When light is too weak or too far away, stems grow tall and thin, reaching for energy they can't quite reach. This is phototropism at work, a built-in response that keeps plants chasing the best light they can find. But leggy seedlings don't stand a chance outside. Their thin stems buckle under their own weight, and the first breeze snaps them in two. The fix: bring light closer and keep it on longer. Studies show that 14 to 16 hours of light per day, with lamps set just 20 to 30 centimeters above the seedlings, keeps growth compact and strong. If leaves start to angle sharply toward the bulbs or stems look pale and stretched, lower the lamp or add a second row for even coverage. Air movement matters too. A small fan, set to the gentlest breeze, triggers micro movements that signal the plant to thicken its stem. 10 minutes an hour is enough. The goal isn't to blast the seedlings, but to mimic the subtle sway of outdoor air. Each adjustment, lamp height, light hours, gentle airflow, pushes the seedlings to build strength, not just length. By the time true leaves unfurl, stems should be thick as pencils, leaves dark and close to the soil. That's the signal they're ready for their first deep pot up, where even a stretched stem can be buried and turned into roots. But only compact, sturdy seedlings make the transition with minimal shock, setting the stage for strong growth ahead. Deep potting turns a spindly seedling into a sturdy, anchored plant. Tomato stems are unique. When buried, they don't just sit in the dark. They sprout roots all along the covered section, converting weakness into strength. That's why every pot up should go deep, with the soil line reaching just below the lowest set of healthy leaves. This single move triples root mass within 2 weeks, setting the stage for the next growth spurt. The first 48 hours after transplant are critical. Keep the containers in bright shade, not direct sun, to let roots settle without shock. If leaves wilt or curl, that's normal. Roots are re-establishing. Water thoroughly, then wait until the top 2 to 3 centimeters of soil feel dry before watering again. Hardening off starts now. Each evening, move the pots outside for a few hours, then bring them back in. After 3 days, leave them out until midnight. By day 7, if nighttime temperatures stay above 10 degrees Celsius, plants can sleep outdoors. This gradual exposure thickens cell walls and primes the plant for wind, sun, and temperature swings. At the end of hardening, the stems feel firm, leaves stay upright through midday, and roots grip the soil. Only then is the plant ready for a permanent spot outdoors, fully equipped to handle the real world. Aphids and whiteflies arrive quietly, settling on the softest new growth and hiding under leaves. They feed by piercing cells and draining sap, leaving behind sticky honeydew that attracts ants and grows sooty mold. Even a handful can multiply fast. One aphid lays live young every day, with a new generation maturing in just over a week when temperatures hold above 20 degrees Celsius. Whiteflies complete their life cycle in as little as 14 days on sun-warmed balconies. Early signs show up as curled leaves, yellowing tips, or a fine dusting of white specks that scatter when touched. The fastest fix starts with a strong jet of water. Aim for leaf undersides, where most clusters hide. This knocks down up to 80% of aphids and dislodges whitefly nymphs before they mature. For stubborn outbreaks, insecticidal soap at 1 to 2% concentration, never more, strips their waxy coating and dries them out. Spray in the early morning, coating all surfaces, but avoid midday heat to prevent leaf burn. Repeat every 5 to 7 days until numbers drop. Mulch plays defense too, holding moisture and blocking soil splash that spreads fungal spores. A 3 to 5 centimeter layer of straw or bark keeps leaves clean and lowers humidity swings. Above all, keep foliage dry. Skip overhead watering. Wet leaves help blight spores stick and spread. Instead, water at the base early in the day so leaves dry by evening. These moves keep pest numbers in check and foliage disease-free, setting up strong growth as flower buds form. Moisture management starts at the root zone. In containers, water moves fast. Evaporation pulls it out, roots pull it up, and the small soil volume dries quicker than ground beds. The simple check: press a finger 2 to 3 centimeters into the mix. If it's dry at that depth, it's time to water. Pour slowly, aiming for even soaking until a trickle runs from the drainage holes. That runoff signals the entire root zone is reached, not just the top. Overhead watering risks wetting leaves, so always direct water at the base. Consistent moisture is more than habit. It's insurance against calcium transport issues that cause problems like blossom end rot later. But water alone isn't enough after transplant. Once roots settle and new growth appears, introduce a balanced liquid feed. Use an NPK fertilizer at quarter strength about 7 to 10 days after potting up. This gentle start feeds the roots without burning them. Repeat every 2 weeks until flowering begins. In containers, nutrients leach fast, so light but regular feeding keeps growth steady without pushing for excess foliage. Each measured dose, water or feed, builds the foundation for strong stems, healthy leaves, and reliable fruit set ahead. Tomato flowers open in clusters, each one holding the promise of fruit, if pollination lands. On balconies, wind and bees might not visit enough, so hands step in. A gentle tap on the flower stem, or a soft shake of the support, releases clouds of pollen inside each bloom. Studies show that even a light flick spreads pollen as well as a bee, especially in dry, warm air. But once daytime highs push above 32 degrees Celsius, pollen starts to clump and lose viability. That's the ceiling. Above it, fruit set drops sharply. For steady clusters, keep plants in morning sun and, if heat spikes, shade them in the afternoon. As the first tiny fruits appear, it's time to switch from a balanced feed to one higher in potassium. This shift supports fruit growth and keeps clusters developing evenly down the vine. Blossom end rot does not wait for full-size fruit. It starts as a pale, water-soaked patch on the bottom, then turns brown and leathery as the fruit grows. The trigger? Calcium cannot reach the tip fast enough, usually because watering has swung from dry to soaked. Tomatoes pull calcium only with steady moisture, not in big gulps. In containers, letting the top 2 to 3 centimeters dry before watering keeps uptake even. Epsom salt will not help. Magnesium can even block calcium movement if overused. Mulch, 3 to 5 centimeters deep, locks in moisture, smoothing out the peaks and valleys that cause trouble. Cracking comes next. After a dry spell, a sudden surge of water makes fruit swell faster than the skin can stretch. The result is split shoulders or radial cracks, especially on nearly ripe fruit. The fix: harvest at the blush stage, just as color breaks from green to yellow or pink. Tomatoes ripen fully off the vine, and picking early sidesteps most cracking. For sunscald, leaves are the only shield that works. Excess pruning or disease can strip that cover, leaving pale, papery patches on exposed fruit. Keep foliage healthy and avoid thinning more than needed for airflow. With these final guards in place, fruit holds its shape, color, and flavor all the way to the kitchen. In balcony containers, tomatoes need a soil pH of 6.2 to 6.8, 14 to 16 hours of light at 20 to 30 centimeters, and at least 20 liters of space for indeterminate types. Facts confirmed by decades of research and expert guidelines. The documentary traced every stage: sterile sowing to prevent damping off, adjusting light to stop leggy seedlings, deep potting and hardening for strong roots, and defending against aphids and early blight using mulch and careful watering. Evidence shows even moisture and a steady calcium supply prevent blossom end rot and fruit cracking, yet the exact thresholds for perfect fruit remain under ongoing study. Not every variable, like the impact of balcony orientation or local microclimate, can be fully controlled, but each documented solution, from pollination tapping to blush stage harvest, is supported by university trials and extension reports. The result? With these proven steps, first harvest in containers is reliably within reach for most urban growers. What remains constant is this: careful observation and evidence-based action are the foundation of every healthy tomato crop.